In case you missed it this week, anti-Semitism is still on the rise on college campuses, forcing one university to cancel its graduation ceremony. And Joe Biden has vowed to not stand with Israel if Israel decides to go after Hamas in Rafah. Meanwhile, two men have decided to rent the womb of a woman to create a newborn life. A video has gone viral regarding this. We'll get into that later. And meanwhile, all this is happening while America's top elites spent $75,000 at a minimum to go to the worst costume party ever. We're going to get into all this and more right here on the Battle Belongs podcast. Welcome to the Battle Belongs podcast. I'm your host, Colton Furlow. It's week 2, episode 2 of the podcast. Can't believe it already. A week has gone by since the launch of this podcast, and I can't thank everyone enough for the support with the launch of this podcast. I'm really excited for what's to come, and I just want to thank you again for coming back. If you listened last week, for joining me today, whether you're listening wherever you get your podcast or watching on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, or Twitter. Thanks for being here today. And if it's your first time, my name is Colton Furlow. Be sure to go back and watch last week's episode because it's a little intro to me, who I am, how I got here, why I got involved in politics, especially why I got involved in politics as a Christian. All of that is talked about in episode 1, but we have a lot to discuss in episode 2 of this podcast. I was thinking about having a guest on the show this week, but then I thought, I'm just kind of getting into the groove of the new set and everything, and just going to be me, myself, and I for at least 2 weeks. And then we can have a guest to discuss the issues that are destroying society and dividing America. But I finally got a desk. I've upgraded from the ground, and I'm sitting in a chair now, so I've upgraded from a beanbag. So we are on the up and up here. The only bad thing is this desk is kind of huge, and I know you can't really see it if you're watching. But it's an L-shaped desk, and I've kind of enclosed it in my set. So I'm in the middle of a square right now. I have bookcases back here that make an L, and I'm in the middle of it. So the only problem is I have to crawl under the desk to get in and out. And if there's like a fire or anything, just call for help because we're not too sure if I'm going to make it out of this square. It's a very tight square too. But very happy that I got all this situated. I don't have to sit on the floor anymore. Other housekeeping things. Let's see. Last week, I mentioned that I was going to another Phil Wickham concert, and I did. It was my 7th Phil Wickham concert in less than a year, and the reason I bring this up is because if you know the title Battle Belongs, it was inspired by Phil Wickham's song Battle Belongs. Basically, the message that no matter what we go through here on earth, God has already went before us and won the battles and ultimately has won the war. So no matter what we face, we can still have joy knowing what's to come for us. There's good things to come for us. Good wins in the end. Evil's defeated. And that's the thing that just keeps me motivated and keeps me going through the ridiculous and crazy times like these that we see today, where America is falling apart, society's crumbling, the world is at war, and no one has like common sense anymore. Society is just crumbling. That's all I got to say about that. But the good news is we win in the end. Good prevails. Evil is demolished, defeated once and for all, and we don't have to worry about these things. So God has already gone before us and won the battles and won the war, and that's where this or the title Battle Belongs podcast comes from, Phil Wickham's song. Anyway, I went to his concert, 7th one in less than a year up in Baltimore with Pat Barrett, Benjamin Williams, Hastings, and it was just a good time. And every single time I see him, the concerts just get better and better. The worship is better, and I just feel the presence of God there. I'm a very connected person with music when it comes to like connecting with God, because I can't focus enough to just sit down and read all the time. So I should really read the Bible a lot more often than what I do. But a lot of times I just can't focus. And if I read a lot, I have to like read it 3 times to comprehend what it is. But when I'm listening to music, I can listen to a song once and feel an instant connection and feel the presence of God. And it's like singing prayers, especially like Battle Belongs. It's like singing prayers to God and praising Him. And I can memorize songs more than I can memorize Bible verses. So when I come up in a situation where, a lot of people would start reading Bible verses or start quoting them just off the top of their head, I can do songs, if that makes sense. I know I should be reading the Bible more, but I also connect a lot more in music. I don't know. Does anyone else do that, or is that just me? No? Okay. So I did get a new sweatshirt. This is another song of his. This is Our God. The back of it says, Let heaven and earth proclaim. And when I was looking at the different merch, I was like, that's a good podcast sweatshirt. And you know me, I love hats and sweatshirts. So this is the outfit for today. Hat is also Bill Wickham. We just keep giving him nice shout outs. So if you want any of his merch, it's amazing. Check out his website. I don't even know what the website is. Bill Wickham something. Anywho, that's a recap of last week. Went to a concert, amazing. Now back down in South Carolina, and I am just getting a breaking news thing. When you're watching this is filmed on Thursday, May 9th, but I'm getting a breaking news thing that says Ivy League University president announces retirement. So let's read this together, because the first topic that I want to discuss is the college campus protest and the rise of anti-Semitism on these college campuses, which was forcing Columbia University to cancel their graduation ceremony. And this one says Cornell president Martha Pollack stepping down June 30th. More to Cornell than current turmoil. Wow. So I was expecting like something to do with Columbia University. Wow. So she's resigned, stating, after 7 fruitful and gratifying years at Cornell as Cornell's president, capping a career in research and academia spanning 5 decades, I'm ready for a new chapter in my life. The Cornell president had previously faced calls for resignation in January of this year for her headlong support for DEI policies. So this just goes to show you that Ivy League schools are not the standard anymore for amazing education here in America. It's almost like a laughingstock if you go to an Ivy League school in today's day and age. Now, I'm not knocking everyone who goes to an Ivy League school, because there are some good, decent humans out there who are going for, the right reasons to get a good education and who don't fall for all the BS that is pushed at these Ivy League schools. But my gosh, what we have seen over the past few months from these Ivy League schools is just pitiful. And I would not be sending my children to an Ivy League school, especially when they're getting the quote-unquote education that they're getting here today. So anyway, it was a few weeks ago, I guess, the Columbia protest got so violent that these radical lunatics broke into the Hamilton Hall on Columbia's campus. And a lot of these people weren't even from Columbia University. Last week, I think I played a clip of this girl who came from NYU or Columbia, vice versa. I can't exactly remember. But she's like, yeah, I don't even go here. I came from this university. And she was asked, like, what is this school doing that you're protesting against? And she couldn't even answer it. She asked a friend, do you know why we're protesting? And the friend says, I wish I was more educated. Like, the students here, this is what's the problem in my generation right now is we just want to riot and cause chaos just to riot and cause chaos with no motive behind it. We think it's the cool thing to do. We just want to be seen, heard, and we want the attention. And when I say we, I'm talking about the generation in general, not, conservatives and things like that. But a lot of people are just so obsessed with the attention. They want to make it on TV. And if you listen to the spokespeople for these different campus organizations or protest groups, whatever you want to call them, they are so incompetent. It's like they work for Biden. And it's like Biden's speechwriter and communications person worked with these students to talk on live television. They have no idea what they're saying. They don't even know why they're there protesting. And they don't even understand the background between the Israeli and Hamas war and why it's actually happening. I can't fathom the thought that these students are so dumb and brainwashed that they are siding with terrorists. How do we get to that point today, in today's day and age? How do we get to the point where students, Americans who are supposed to be standing up for freedom, who are supposed to be standing up for what's right and just and moral, yet they are siding with terrorists, and they are saying that Israel is committing genocide? That's the line that blows my mind every single time I hear about these protests, that Israel is committing genocide. Where is this information? Who is telling you this? Because if you go back for centuries, it's the Jewish people and the people of Israel who have been slaughtered, who have been raped. The women have been raped. The children have been abused and murdered. And it's yet the Jewish people and the Israeli people that are committing genocide. No, the Israeli people and the Israeli military right now are going after terrorists. Now, it's not like Israel is dropping nuclear bombs throughout the Middle East. That is not what is happening. In fact, it's the other way around. While they're not nuclear bombs, they are missiles and what were they? Those suicide drones that are coming from Iran by proxy constantly into Israeli airspace. And no one bats an eye about that. These leftist lunatics don't bat an eye about anything regarding the Israeli people dying or the Jewish people dying. Why is that? It's because they hate the Jews. They hate the people of Israel. They hate freedom. They hate standing up for what's right. And these people are just truly evil. They're demonic. If you listen to what they have to say, if you look at them, look how they're acting. They're vulgar, profanity flying everywhere. These people are just disgusting human beings. Now, what I do like is Representative Andy Ogles from the great state of Tennessee. A little accent came out there and made me mispronounce that. Andy Ogles, representative from Tennessee, has come up with a bill that basically says that anyone convicted of unlawful activity on a college campus, university campus in America since October 7th, when the massacre happened over in Israel, should be sent to Gaza for a minimum of 6 months to complete community service. Representative Andy Ogles, I love this. I support it 100%, but why stop at 6 months? These people are calling for death to America. Get these jokers out of the country and don't let them back in. Why would we let anyone who is calling for death to America remain in the country? By all means, send them away and don't let them come back, because to me, that is terrorism. They are pledging allegiance to terrorists, Hamas, Iran, Hezbollah, any other terrorist organization who wants to destroy Western civilization and ultimately destroy America. If anyone says death to America and is aligning themselves with these terrorist organizations, get them out. They are a threat to the United States of America. And I put a TikTok out I guess it was 2 weeks ago, that basically said, Joe Biden and the Democrat Party says that MAGA supporters, conservatives, Republicans are a threat to democracy. Yet they're pretty silent on the fact that it's the leftist lunatics on college campuses calling for death to America, but that's not a threat to democracy. They're the ones who are politically persecuting their political opponents just to get back in office, but that's not a threat to democracy. We have a wide open southern border with literal terrorists who are on the terror watch list coming across the border, who have been apprehended. But for as many as have been apprehended, how many have gotten across the border that we don't even know are in the country? We don't even know who they are and what their plans are. But that's not a threat to democracy. Make it make sense. So, Representative Andy Ogles, again, I fully 100% support this. And I say, make it a lifelong thing. Why stop at 6 months? These people hate America, so ship them off to Gaza. I'm sure they'll be welcomed with open arms by Hamas. Now, let's transition to what Biden had to say about Israel. So he is not going to transfer offensive weapons if Israel invades Rafah. Now, why are they invading Rafah? Because they know that there's a lot of leadership from Hamas in the area. There's still these underground tunnels. There's still militant buildings there. And like I said earlier, it's not like they're just dropping nukes out of the blue on Gaza. They are giving fair warning to the Palestinian people to leave, to seek shelter, to go somewhere else before these events begin, before the ground raid begins. And, Joe Biden has basically pledged an ironclad support for Israel. Yet when Israel really wants to make a stand and annihilate terrorists, Joe Biden's support is gone. And by doing this, and by saying that he's not going to give offensive weapons, now offensive weapons is, like on the offense, not defensive, like the Iron Dome, he's pledging support for Hamas. That's what he's doing. He's siding with terrorists. He is not giving Israel the right to annihilate the same terrorists who continue to inflict pain on the Israeli people and the Jewish people. Now, we are America. I think I've kind of covered this earlier. We do not support terrorists. We do not stand with terrorists. In fact, we stand on terrorists' necks. That's what we do. We annihilate terrorism. Terrorism has no place in America. Terrorism has no place in the world. So why is Joe Biden siding with terrorists? I want an answer. Why will he not let Israel finish the job, get rid of Hamas, and we don't have to worry about this? We won't have to worry about Hamas attacking Israel. Now, I firmly believe that once you get rid of Hamas, there's going to be another group that will continue to attack Israel by proxy through Iran. That's just the way it's going to be. But allow Israel to destroy them. Now, Israel doesn't want our boots on the ground. They don't want our help. They just want the ability to have the equipment they need to get rid of terrorists. I just don't get it. I just don't get it. If they will not use the same logic that they use for Ukraine. We have an actual terrorist organization murdering, raping, assaulting, torturing Jewish people in Israel, yet we do not have the actual ironclad support for Israel under the Joe Biden administration. I just do not get it. And this is actually all coming after this quote-unquote ceasefire deal that was created by Egypt and Qatar. And what's really funny was when this alleged ceasefire deal came out, all these people on social media were like, praise Joe Biden. Thank you, Joe Biden, for your foreign policy, for creating this ceasefire deal. And turns out the United States had nothing to do with it. Only Hamas agreed to it, and Israel said, no, it doesn't meet the needs and the standards that we want. And everyone just kind of ate their words on social media, and it was so good to see that these people think that Israel or Joe Biden was the one who came up with this ceasefire deal, and now he's saying that he's not even going to support Israel annihilating these terrorists. It's just hypocrisy. I can't deal with it. This is something that I studied in college, was the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And throughout history proves that Israel has tried to come up with negotiations for peace. They have tried to get peace, but either the Palestinian people, Iran, or other Middle Eastern countries will not have it. They will not have peace with Israel. So by doing that, they ruffle the feathers. They get Hamas and the Palestinian people all riled up to go after Israel again. And then you have Hezbollah and all the other proxies through Iran just attacking Israel nonstop. And Israel is the victim here. And I'm tired of people playing the victim card for terrorists. Again, terrorism has no place in America and has no place in the world, and it should be defeated once and for all. Moving on to another disgusting and unbearable topic is two men renting a womb of a woman to have a child because they are just so needy to have a child as two men. They can't adopt. They want to create a new life that is going to be stripped away from the mother's womb, that will never have a mother figure. It's cruel. I think it's child abuse. And the fetish that these people have, I think, is very predator-like. And I don't think it should be a thing anymore. I don't think it should have ever been allowed. It's disgusting. And I just want you to watch this video.
Oh, no, I put it back on her.
I know, but her brother knows that's all.
Oh, he went there. Oh, right. Now she's chilling. With the blanket. Here we go.
Oh, there she goes. Oh, yeah. So cool. She's mad. Aww.
So what you see in this video is a little baby boy who is just born, just came out of the womb, and is being placed into a man's arms who is laying in what looks like a hospital bed when he doesn't need to be in one. He's dressed like a ridiculous woman, nails all done, horrible makeup, the long hair, the whole 9 yards. Ridiculous look, laying in what looks like a hospital bed, trying to be this mother figure because they want it so badly to have a child through this method. I think it's sick and disgusting that two men believe that they can just rent a woman's womb and deprive that child from the right to have a mother. They are taking a child away from the connection of a mother, especially at birth. Like, my gosh, we don't even treat puppies the same. There's like a certain weak point before you can take the puppy away from its mother. But by all means, take the child, a human life, take that right away from the mother at birth so that you can have your fetish of raising a child that you genetically put together inside of a womb by playing God. It's so disgusting and weird. So this is Nathan and Joseph Hughes. They're from Dallas. So apparently Aunt Courtney, I think is her name, was the one who donated the eggs, and Aunt Brianna was the one who allowed her womb to be rented out to form a connection with this child. This child knows the mother's body, knows Aunt Brianna's body, and wants to have a relationship with the mother. But guess what? Aunt Brianna is actually Joseph's sister. So this just adds to the cluster, you know what. So this, I just don't even know how to explain this. So the aunt is actually the mother of the father. This is like incest. I don't even know how to comprehend this. One of the father's sister is the mother of his child. But the eggs are some Aunt Courtney. I don't know if she's related. I didn't get that part of the story. She's just some random person. So it's kind of like it has two mothers and two dads. And one of the mother and one of the father is brother and sister. This is sick and wicked. We have to put a stop to this. This is so immoral. You are ripping away a child from the right to have a mother. And this I guess this video just came out this weekend where Dylan and Kyle were born. I'm not sure exactly which baby that was, but I just pray for that child because Lord knows what it's going to grow up, what kind of household it's going to grow up in. And someone's got to do something about this. Who do we have to contact to make this illegal? To rent a woman's womb because you want to be married to another man and you cannot have a child because biology doesn't work that way. So you need to buy. I don't know if, I'm sure there had to be a lot of payments going to the medical field for this because the surrogacy industry is very corrupt anyway. Here's a picture that I saw on social media where it's over $60-some thousand for your womb to be rented. This industry is a money-making industry. It's sick, wicked, evil, corrupt, and immoral. Period. That's that. We got to make it stop. Get rid of it. Now, last week I said that we're going to go into my pet peeves, and I never made it that far, so I'm going to make these quick. Number one, Democrats, for obvious reasons, because their ideology and their policies are absolutely horrible, and they destroy society. They have destroyed America, and we cannot let that happen again. We cannot let them win in 2024. Other pet peeves I have is slurping. Like when you're taking a sip, like do not slurp. I know people who eat ice cream with a spoon and like soup. Do not slurp. Do not slurp. It's weird. It's loud, and it's so obnoxiously annoying. Other things, this is actually illegal in a lot of states, but people still do it. Cruising in the left lane. And you're going slower than the speed limit in the left lane, which causes traffic backup. Move. Get over. Go faster or get over. Another one is standing up when a plane gets to its gate. Where do you think you're going? Why do you feel the need to jump up as soon as the plane hits park? Because it's not going to be for another 5 to 10 minutes before the doors open and you really can't get your bags out. And then you have the jokers in the back who are trying to get all their stuff and then run up to the front before the front people even get out. Where do you think you're going? Like, I get that people have connection flights and stuff, but usually they're accommodated by the flight crew to make sure that they get out first or early as possible. But the majority of the people just stand up and start getting their stuff and are about ready to ram through the door. Just sit down and just wait. You don't have to rush. Gaslighting, can't stand gaslighting, but that is all that the Joe Biden administration decides to do nowadays is gaslight the American people. Self-hygiene. You know, I know the economy sucks right now and prices are skyrocketing, but it doesn't take much to put on some deodorant or brush your teeth or, I don't know, clean yourself. And if you don't have any of these supplies, let me know and I will hook you up. You don't have to tell me who you are. Just send me an anonymous thing. I'll get you these supplies. But basic hygiene, I don't know how we're lacking that. Okay? Constant plan changes drives me up a wall. Like, we can change plans once or twice, but when you're changing 5 times and changing at the last minute, drives me nuts. And when people try to one up other people, like I'm saying, hey, I went on this trip. I went to Florida. Well, yeah, guess what? I went to Hawaii, and then I went over to Japan, and then I went to Thailand, and I saw all of these crazy elephants there, and it was just such an amazing time on the beach. Shut up. Shut up. I don't care. I'm trying to tell you an experience that I had. I don't need to hear about yours and how much better it was. If I did, I would ask you. So, there's my pet peeves. Don't do any of those, or we won't be able to have friends. So now, while the world is crumbling and falling apart, society's divided completely here in America, we had the elitists of our country go to the Met Gala, where you had to pay a minimum of $75,000 to go. And I don't know what these people are thinking when they put clothes on, but I just call the Met Gala the worst costume party of all time. Oops. So we're going to go through some of the worst outfits that I think were at the Met Gala. And I think the theme was reawaken fashion. And a lot of these people did quite the opposite. Okay, these are horrible outfits. I think I got 6 here that I want to talk about, just how ridiculous they are. So first of all, we have Doja Cat, and I'm pretty sure she's just wearing towels. It looks like she has a bath mat or a bath towel wrapped around her body. And she has like mascara or makeup running down her face as if she was just crying. Why? I don't get it. Do these people think this is pretty, fashionable? 0 out of 10. Next up, we have Cole Escola. Not sure if I'm saying that right, but I'm pretty sure this is a guy. It looks like a mixture between a bride from a long, long time ago mixed with the Queen of England, God rest her soul, and Dorothy's mother on the Golden Girls, Sophia, with her little purse. But not a purse. This is a dog basket with fake flowers. Not sure if those flowers are real or not. But yeah, it looks like a mixture of Sophia from the Golden Girls, Queen Elizabeth getting married with a woven dog basket. Why? Like, when I look at these things, I just ask why. What is the purpose? What is the story behind this? They all look ridiculous. And why is a man wearing this to begin with, if it is a man? The jury's out on that. We have Kris Jenner. It just looks like she wrapped herself in a bed set and rolled out of bed. Like, did she stay at Hilton and just come downstairs from her bed? And she's wearing a sheet and a comforter. And it looks like some flowers along the top there. Not quite sure what's going on here. And then we have Kim K, who looks like the top of her body was about ready to pop off because her corset was so tight and it was like that big, and then you got the curves below it. A lot of people said that she like looked drunk or something, and I was thinking she's probably not drunk. She probably can't breathe because all of her insides are squeezed together very tightly with this corset. I guess this is the figure that everyone says is supposed to be amazing. I don't know. Next up, we have this Jessica girl. I'm not even going to try to pronounce her last name. She's wearing a flower bed. She is wearing a complete full garden on her. Why? I mean, the flowers are cool, I guess, but why are we wearing a whole garden? Why? I don't get this. I really don't get this. And then Zendaya looks like she is ready for the Hunger Games. So I'm not really sure what people are thinking when they decide to dress up for the Met Gala. It's horrible. They look ridiculous. And I'm just so glad that the elitists who are trying to, bring socialism into our nation, who says capitalism's horrible and that the rich keep getting richer and all this junk, spends $75,000 on a ticket to go to the worst costume party ever. So now, let's start a new little segment on the Battle Belongs podcast called Colton's Fan Mail. But instead of my good fan mail, it's the people who just hate me on social media. So, this past week, I posted a thing. It was like a trend where you post a picture of yourself, and people were saying, "Hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. I'm however many years old. I'm from wherever, and I am or I'm not voting for Joe Biden." Well, I did one that says, "Hi, I'm Colton. I'm 22 from Maryland, and I'm a Christian, so I know abortion is murder," which is a very true statement. But of course, the radical lefties and the lunatics decided to come after me for that because they cannot fathom the idea that the slaughter of unborn children inside the womb is murder. They just can't wrap their minds around it. They don't think that it's a life. They can't tell me when life begins. They believe that life begins at first breath, but we know that science affirms that life begins at conception. But then when you cite those scientific studies. They say, well, actually that science is false, but then they believed all the science from the jabs and all that good stuff. So they can never have an answer or an intellectual argument about abortion, and abortion is the number one issue that I am an advocate against. And I could run circles around all these people all day and every day, but there's so many people commenting that I thought I would just read some of them here. So Super Gay Brunch, at Super Gay Brunch, guy on Twitter. I guess it's a guy. This person says, I think abortion is fabulous, and I'm proud to be providing that service to women in need in my adopted country of Mexico. Cry harder. Imagine, even if this is a joke, imagine celebrating, and I commented, abortion isn't celebrated, in quotes, because everyone says that abortion isn't celebrated. This is celebrating abortion. Imagine, even if it's a joke, having the audacity to talk about such a tragic instance for the mother and the unborn child, no matter if the mother wanted it, whatever it may be. Imagine celebrating it and talking about it like it's just nothing. Like, the disregard for human life by these people is ridiculous. And at the time of the screenshot, it has 35 likes. But 35 likes for people celebrating the idea of murder is so disgusting. Mr. at UD9304 Robot Heart. He says, there's a picture of a man in his profile. Don't care what your religion is. Call me when you're a scientist or a woman. Otherwise, your opinion doesn't matter. P.S. Pretty sure abortion isn't mentioned in your Bible. And I responded with, I guess you missed that part about not murdering in the Bible. And as for a scientist or a woman, well, the Democrat Party doesn't even know what a woman is. So it's really funny that these people, they're all about the pronouns, and you can't misgender people, and you can't assume. But when I make a post about abortion, they always assume that I'm a man, which they're correct. But it's so hypocritical when you just take a step back and look at everything that they do. They are so hypocritical. They assume things, and then they lash out against you. They'll call you names. They'll try to say that you're some kind of sexuality and not the other, and they just insult you left and right. And the Democrat Party, they're supposed to be the party that's loving and accepting and inclusive to everyone. Yet the minute that you talk about cultural issues such as abortion, because abortion is murder, it's a very simple concept. Once you just read through it, what actually happens during an abortion, whether it's a medical pill or a ripping apart of the human inside the womb, it's a very simple concept to know that abortion is murder. It's an innocent human life. And when you bring things like that up, they will do everything to just tear you apart, insult you, because they don't have an intellectual argument. So the moment that I know I win an argument or have at least the moral and intellectual upper hand is when I'm getting insulted. So I'm not sure about you, but I do know that life does begin at conception. The Bible is very clear about thou shalt not murder, and murder is the killing of an innocent human being. And I'm pretty sure last time I checked, the child inside the womb didn't do anything wrong. So taking the life of that child is actually murder. Next up, we have, hi, I'm Elizabeth. This is not a bad one, actually. It's funny. Hi, I'm Elizabeth, and I'm a Christian too. I've been looking in the book of Numbers, and I don't have yours. Very clever, but I'm not posting my number on social media. My Lord, these radical lunatics will be blowing my phone nonstop. Some LLSEZ dude who has a picture of Jack Smith, as his profile picture says, my parrot has better legs than you. Wow. I do know my legs are skinny, but I didn't know that they were that skinny, that the parrot has better legs than him. See, this is what I mean. They'll attack your appearance. They'll attack anything, but they will not actually have an intellectual conversation with you because they don't have the knowledge. They don't have the common sense to even talk about these issues, so they'll just attack you. But all these people will attack my looks and everything, but it does not bother me. I sit back and crack up laughing. Sometimes I even like some of the insults and repost them because they're actually funny. So props to them, but this one was just stupid, but I thought it was fun to share. At RAD Miami, Rad Miami. So when a mother's life is in danger and the baby is already dead in her womb, she can't have an abortion, question mark. So this is a great question because a lot of people are actually confused about this. So when the baby is already dead inside the womb, that's a miscarriage. And unfortunately, the baby has already died. And the baby does have to come out somehow or the mother could die. So you have to get the baby out. But that is not an abortion because an abortion is to terminate the pregnancy, no strings attached, period. Terminate the pregnancy, that is it. In instances like a miscarriage, the baby is already dead, so that is not an abortion. Okay? I want to make that clear. There is no pro-life law that will prohibit a doctor from conducting a procedure to remove a already dead baby due to a miscarriage from the woman. That doesn't happen in the pro-life community, and advocates will never advocate for such a cruel position. We would never say that you should not have that baby removed. The baby's already, unfortunately, gone. It has to be removed from the body. So that's that on that part of the question. The second part is about the mother's life in danger. Say the baby is already or is still alive. So, for example, an ectopic pregnancy, that's a non-viable pregnancy. The baby is probably not going to survive that pregnancy, right? The baby's going to have to come out at some point. So you either try to deliver the baby, and if it dies, unfortunately, that's what happens. But there's no reason to kill the baby without trying first to deliver the baby with it being alive. Does that make sense? And there is no pro-life law that is actually prohibiting a procedure to save a mother's life. Most of us don't even consider a procedure that has to terminate the pregnancy because the mother's life is in danger, such as an ectopic pregnancy, as an abortion. That's not an abortion because there are strings attached to it. The mother's life is in danger. But the purpose of an actual abortion is just birth control. They don't want the child. That is it. Point blank, period. So, again, no matter what people say about Texas and that ridiculous story, there is no pro-life law that is preventing a woman's life to be saved. It's the doctors and the medical field's duty to protect the mother's life. And they should do everything that they can to protect the unborn child's life in any instance, especially such as an ectopic pregnancy or a possible non-viable pregnancy. They should do everything that they can to protect the mother, number one, and also try to deliver the child alive. If there's an unfortunate circumstance where that child doesn't make it, that is not an abortion, and the pro-life community is not going to prevent those procedures from happening. So, do we make that clear? Abortion is simply the termination of an unwanted pregnancy. That is it. Point blank, period. No strings attached. They just don't want the kid. And that's what we're against. Ever hear of live and let live? If it doesn't affect you, it doesn't concern you. You bigot. Of course, name calling. Here we go. So if you're not a Jew or if you're not a Muslim or a Palestinian, does the war over there affect you? Might not affect you directly, but I'm pretty sure that what happened on October 7th should rile up everyone to stand up against it, call it out, and do everything that they can to make sure it doesn't happen again. If a gunman who has mental health issues decides to go into a school and take innocent human lives, does that affect you directly? No, probably not. But we should talk about it, and we should fight back against the mental health crisis that we have in America. If we have a wide open southern border and we have illegal immigrants coming in who are taking other people's jobs, who are killing innocent human beings like Lake and Riley in Georgia, does that affect you directly? No. Should we stand up against it, close the border, and send these lunatics back over to where they came from? Absolutely. So just because something doesn't affect you personally doesn't mean that you don't have the right to stand up for what you believe in. Because The majority of things actually don't affect us directly, these cultural issues, but we all have an opinion on it. And this is America. We have the freedom to fight for what we believe in. And once you know that something is immoral and evil, I think it's evil to not speak out against it and do everything in your power to make sure it ceases to exist. Get rid of it. Anything that is evil should be eradicated from society. And we should be doing everything in our power to make sure that happens, whether it directly affects us or not. So then I made another post, which was along the same trend that I'm Colton from Maryland, blah, blah, blah. I'm not a biologist, but I know men cannot become women and vice versa. And of course, all these people get riled up about basic biology again. They start attacking me for my looks, for my droopy, lazy eyelid, how I look, saying that I look feminine. They're asking me how many months into transition I am because they don't understand basic biology, or they do understand it, but they just want to fight about it and allow society to continue to crumble. Quick question for you. Why do you even care? How does this impact your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness? Again, same concept. We should be fighting against immoral things that are affecting society, because society does affect me. And I live in society. So, of course, I'm going to have an opinion. And, of course, I'm going to fight to make a change. And when you start bringing children into it, I think it's our duty to stand up for the most vulnerable who don't have a voice and who can't speak for themselves. That's why I'm such a staunch advocate for pro-life and such a staunch advocate against abortion, because those children in the womb do not have a voice to stand up and say, hey, I don't want to be murdered. Yet someone has to speak up for them. So that's why I do it. The little children who are being groomed to think that they're a different gender than what they are, different sex than what they are, because, again, the two things are intertwined. We should be standing up for them because they don't know right from wrong at that point. They don't understand what the parents are doing. They know that, yes, they're a boy. Yes, they're a girl. Yes, they like to play dress up. Yes, they like to be a tomboy, but that doesn't mean that they're going to have a full change one day. And the parents that are accepting this and actually forcing this should be stopped and prevented. And that's on us. That is our duty to do. So, with all of that being said, we need to take a stand for what's right in America. We need to fight back against immorality, fight back against the radical left, fight back against the Democrat Party, because it's the Democrat Party and the radical left that is pushing all of this cultural confusion, cultural division on America. It's a cultural war, but it's also a spiritual war. We are firmly in the middle of a spiritual battle, and yes, the battle belongs to God, but we do have to fight it here on earth. While we're still here, while we're still alive and breathing, we have a purpose, and we have a moral duty to fight back against evil and eradicate it from society. And I swear to you, if Joe Biden and the Democrat Party regain control of this country totally after the November election, society is going to absolutely implode. And America will not be the America that we know it today, let alone that we knew it 4 years ago under President Trump. It's going to cease to exist. I firmly believe it. We do have to stand up, fight back, and make your voices heard. You know, stand up for what you believe in. How hard is it? How hard is it? What are you going to lose? Are you going to lose friends? Sure. I lost so many friends. Half of my friends from high school hate me. I make new friends. Like, what are you going to lose? Your job? Everyone's hiring. Go find another job. Are you going to get kicked out of school? Fine. Go to another school. In fact, don't go to school at all. Don't go to college, because college is a cesspool of indoctrination. There are so many other options, and I know it's so scary for a lot of people. And 2020 really instilled that fear of, oh my gosh, if I don't stand, or if I stand up for what I believe in, I'm going to get fired. I'm going to get kicked out of school. I'm going to lose friends. I'm going to lose family members. And that was just like the test run. If they regain control, this is going to be, it's like America's Armageddon, I swear to you. And if they regain control, it's not going to be a test anymore. That's just how it's going to be. They're going to come after us to no end unless we actually stand up and push back. And it starts by prayer, number 1. Number 2, get to the ballot box. Number 3, get your friends to the ballot box and vote Republican up and down the ballot. The Republican Party isn't perfect. The Republican Party doesn't perfectly align with Christian stances. I know it. Some people are lenient on it. But the church has to get involved. There is one party that aligns with biblical principles that our nation was founded on more than the other party, and that party is the Republican Party. And I'm telling you, we have to vote red. Don't sit this one out. Don't be the guy who's going to vote third party either. Don't be the guy who's going to vote for RFK because the Republican Party isn't too conservative for you. Well, let me tell you, RFK is not conservative. He is not the conservative alternative. You have to vote Republican up and down the ballot. And if you're someone who is a believer in the church and you vote Democrat, I think you need to do a lot of soul searching and comparing what the actual biblical texts say with what the actual Democrat Party platform is and what they believe in. Because I promise you, the two do not align, quite frankly, at all. But that wraps it up for episode 2 of the Battle Belongs podcast. I hope everyone has an amazing weekend and a great week next week. We'll be back next Friday for more on the Battle Belongs podcast. I'm Colton Furlow. Take care.